It's almost Christmas time and I need my last recipe for this month. I haven't made a gingerbread house in a while, but I don't really like how they taste, and it's not really much of a recipe if everything's pre-made. I really wish I could just make some gingerbread though. It'd be really nice to have something easy to make this week. Oh wait! Happy holidays everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Max AC channel. For this festive season, we will be doing another round of sweet treats this year, but because I like alliterations, for this month we will be doing December Delights. As the name suggests, for the month of December we will be making 4 more sweet treats that will hopefully help you celebrate the holidays. For this last episode, we will be making some gingerbread cookies. For this recipe, you will need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt. Then for your spices, you will need 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground allspice, and half a teaspoon of ground cloves. You can adjust these amounts as you wish and leave out some if you can't find them. Also, if you have some pumpkin spice, it's basically all of these spices combined, so you can just use that if you have some lying around. In addition to this, you will also need 12 tablespoons or a stick and a half of butter softened to room temperature, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 2/3 cup of unsulfured or dark molasses. Any kind should work, but I would recommend not using blackstrap unless you like very bitter cookies. Then you will also need 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. If you just want plain cookies, that's fine, but if you want to decorate with some icing, you of course can use store-bought, but if you want to make your own, for about a cup of simple icing, you will need 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 3 to 4 tablespoons of water or milk. And for about a cup of royal icing, you will instead need 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 egg whites. Then in terms of color, you can add some store-bought food coloring if you wish to make the icing, but if you want to make your own, I will be showing a couple of ways of making dyes using other ways, with some cranberries for red, pea flower tea for blue, and matcha powder for green. That way, the different colored icing will have a nice subtle flavor difference from the white icing, which I think is better than using food dye, but again, up to you. Also, if you wish to make a gingerbread house or to decorate your cookies even more, you will of course need some candy. Any candy of your choice should work, but some that I recommend are gumdrops, gummy candy, and of course peppermints and candy canes. Again, these are entirely optional, but they definitely add a lot to the visual aspect of the dish. Regardless of your choice of additional design elements, we of course need to first make the cookies. So, first in a large bowl, add in the flour, baking soda, salt, and spices and mix this together until evenly distributed. Then, set this aside and in another bowl, add the butter and beat it with a hand mixer for 1 minute or so at medium speed until the butter is creamy and smooth. Then add in the brown sugar and molasses and beat this on medium-high speed until everything is combined and creamy. If you need to, you can scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl. Next, add in the egg and vanilla extract and beat this on high speed for 2 minutes or so, scraping down the sides and the bottom of the bowl as needed. Once it's all mixed together, add in the flour mixture a little bit at a time to the wet ingredients and beat this on low speed until all of the flour is incorporated. Then, once you're ready, divide the dough in half and place each onto a large piece of plastic wrap. Shape each into a disc and wrap them up tightly. Place these into the fridge for at least 2 hours or so, or if you need to, you can put them in the freezer for 20 minutes if you're short on time. When you're ready to bake your cookies, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and while we wait, we'll prepare the cookies. Line 2 to 3 baking sheets with some parchment paper and set it aside for later. We'll work with the dough 1 disc at a time to make it easier, so remove 1 disc of cookie dough from the fridge. Generously flour your work surface along with your hands and the rolling pin. Roll out the disc until it's about a 1/2 to a 1/4 inch thick. Then, when you're ready, you can use your cookie cutters to make them into the shape you desire, such as the classic gingerbread man, or you may use other shapes as well, such as a star or tree. You could also cut them out using a knife, but that takes a long time, so I recommend just getting a couple of cookie cutters to make it easier. If you are planning on making a gingerbread house, however, you will need to make 2 side walls, 2 baseball home plate shaped walls, and 2 roof pieces. It might be easier to use a stencil, but as long as everything is properly proportioned, you should be fine. Once your pieces are shaped to your liking, place each cookie 1 inch apart on the prepared baking sheets, and re-roll any dough scraps to create more cookies until all of the dough is shaped, including your second disc. Your oven should be done preheating by now, so bake the cookies for about 7 to 8 minutes, making sure not to overbake them. But if you want them to be crunchier, you may bake them for an additional minute or 2. Then, once your cookies are ready, remove them from the oven and let them cool for 5 minutes on the baking sheet before transferring them to a cooling rack to cool completely. Repeat this step until all of your desired cookies are done, but before we move on to the decorating portion, you will of course need your icing. In between baking the cookies, you can easily make your simple icing by simply mixing together the powdered sugar and vanilla extract, and then slowly adding in the water or milk until your desired consistency is reached. And for the royal icing, you will first need to beat the egg whites with a hand mixer into a meringue before slowly incorporating the powdered sugar and vanilla extract. Then for the dyes, you will just need to boil your ingredients in some water or milk for 5 to 15 minutes, depending on your desired intensity, to release the natural colors of the ingredient. You can also microwave these in some water instead, if you're more concerned about the color and not the flavor. This step should work generally with other ingredients as well, with some adjustments to the amount of liquid, so try experimenting with what you have lying around for other colors, such as using some chamomile tea or egg yolk for yellow, or chocolate or coffee for brown. Additionally, blending the ingredients into the liquid will release more color, so do that if needed. Also, if your ingredient is powdered, you can just mix that into the icing to avoid thinning it out even more. But regardless, once your dyes are ready and cooled, divide your icing and just mix the dyes into the icing until it reaches your desired shade. If you need to thicken the icing some more, you can mix in some powdered sugar, and that should thicken it right back up. You can also mix in sugar while making the dye as well to thicken it into a syrup before mixing it in. And with that, your icing should be ready to use for decorating your gingerbread cookies. Of course, this next step is pretty self-explanatory, but for the cookies, you will want to decorate them with designs reflective of the shape that they are in, such as drawing in the features of the gingerbread man and adding some color to the trees and stars or whatever shapes you have. But for the house, we'll want to use the icing to glue the pieces together and to glue any candy pieces to the house itself to make your unique house design. But of course, you may design it however you wish, so once it's to your liking, let the icing dry for about an hour or so for your royal icing, or up to 24 hours for your simple icing if you wish to transport them. But if you want to enjoy them right away, you're more than welcome to. And with that, your gingerbread cookies are ready to eat. I always loved making gingerbread houses during Christmas time, but usually the store-bought ones are more for decoration rather than actually being tasty, so I used to think that I didn't like gingerbread. However, after I had tried this homemade gingerbread recipe from a friend, I knew that I had to make some cookies in a house for this last Christmas episode. In terms of the different icing, the simple one is, well, simple. It's nice and quick and doesn't take much effort or special ingredients to make, though because of this it usually takes longer to dry than royal icing, and it also isn't quite as pretty. Also, if you add some coloring to the simple icing, it thins out a lot easier, so I would recommend taking the extra time to make the royal icing, but with the amount of sugar in both, either one should add a nice amount of sweetness and charm to your spiced cookies. Speaking of which, I was having trouble putting the house together because I actually ran out of icing while making it, so I just ended up making a fun scene instead. I recommend if you're having difficulties putting the house together to maybe try being creative with your pieces and design around your limitations to create something still visually appealing. It's all going to taste great anyways, so just do what makes it good enough to eat. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know how it went if you decided to make it, and let me know if there's anything you want me to make next. Like the video, share with your friends and family, and subscribe to this channel for more episodes of the Max AC channel. And remember, if you want to stay cool in the kitchen, turn your AC to the max and watch the Max AC channel.